You're gonna make me sue someone.
Hi, I'm Nicola Ehlers, and today I'll be calling out
NHL teams and players.
Team you hate losing to the most? Well, it's got to be our rivals.
I have to call out the Wild. I mean, obviously I've played there for a long time, and you never want to lose a team you were there for that many years.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I grew up cheering for them obviously my whole life, and now they're our biggest rivals, so it's always a fun game playing them.
A lot of these answers could probably be Montreal because of my brother there, so like family bragging rights go a long way for us.
I think Toronto would probably be the one. You want to go into Toronto and win. There's a lot of teams in the league that want that, and that's not just because they're a Canadian team, it's because they're a good team that can do it pretty much every year.
New York for me. Obviously I was traded away from there. I think every time you go back and play your former team, you want to beat them. So we've actually done pretty well against them, which has been nice, but every time we can beat them, I really enjoy it.
I think I'm gonna go with Nashville Predators. I would say just the history behind being in the Central Division, and there's some heated rivalries.
They knocked us out of the conference finals, which is the closest I've been to getting to a Stanley Cup final. They beat us a few years ago in the playoffs too, so I'm gonna go with Vegas.
The player you want to grab a beer with, but you never have.
Probably gonna be the greatest goal scorer of all time.
Been a legend in the game for so long, and I'm sure it feels to me like he's gonna get this record soon, but the stories he must have from both on the ice and off the ice I think would be pretty cool, so he'd probably be top of my list.
I mean, he's Russian. I know a couple of Russians, and they're pretty fun to have a beer with. Plus, he's a good player, obviously, and he seems like a pretty funny guy.
Drew Doughty. We got a lot of LA guys. I've heard some good stories, good times, so that would be fun.
I would say Austin Matthews would be a fun guy to get to know. I never met him, so it would be probably him.
Carolina Hurricanes and Brent Burns. I know he's a big outdoorsman, hunter. I would love to just pick his brain, and he's a pretty interesting guy, so would love to grab a beer with him.
Team I've gotten the most penalty minutes against.
I've only had like 30 in my career, probably.
Just because we played them the one year, we played them like 12 times, so.
I think it might be Nashville. We played them a ton of times in our division. Had a fight in Nashville as well. That bumps up the penalty minutes a little bit. And those games, they tend to get a little rough sometimes. So I'd probably go with Nashville.
My guess is Calgary Flames, but I'm not sure how many, but somehow I always end up in the box there.
I'm gonna go with the Minnesota Wild.
Just because I feel like we always have rivalry games with those guys.
Play them a lot during the year, so I think I got a couple against them.
I think it's New York, to be honest. Not that I don't take that many penalties, but I remember I went through a spell where like every time we would play the Rangers, I would get like 2 high sticking penalties. So that wasn't great. I obviously wasn't doing them on purpose, but maybe I'd just be a little bit too antsy and kind of stick would go wild. So that's probably the answer if I had to guess.
The player you want on your line in Game 7 of overtime for Stanley Cup?
I think for me, this one's pretty easy.
Gotta go with in-house, one of my buddies, Mark Scheifele.
He's a world-class player, and would love to have him on my line.
Connor Hellebuck.
I'm going to leave my Jets teammates out of this because that's who I think we're going to be in the Stanley Cup final with this year, but I think Sid is probably the answer right now.
The way he plays the game is what you want.
Been there before, done it a few times, and scored a few big goals along the way, so that'd probably be my pick.
And he's sick, obviously. He's still unbelievable.
Unfortunately, he's not active anymore, but Justin Williams was an absolute GOAT.
Team with the best chirper in the league.
I'm not a good chirper, so I don't want to get in the middle of that stuff.
I mostly get it probably the same way the fans do, through the mic'd up videos on YouTube. I always enjoy the one of, I think it's Giroux chirping, I think it's Van Riemsdyk calling him a pigeon and cooing. I thought that one was funny.
Former D partner Brendan Dillon.
I'm gonna have to go with Boston, Brad Marchand. We don't play them often, but he's gotten me with a few good ones through the years.
Since I know Dumba pretty well, and he's now with Dallas, I would say he's definitely up there.
The player with the most obscure style on the ice.
I've heard that I've got bad style on the ice a few times, but I also don't want to call myself out like I just did.
I'm gonna have to go with the former Winnipeg Jet, Brandon Tanev. It's not much of a style. I'll give it that. That's why I picked him.
I'm just going to take Pionk, just because he doesn't have that bad style, but he's my guy. He'll laugh at this one.
First one that comes to mind, David Pastrnak. Skates the tape job. He's got a unique style.
It's got to be Bertuzzi for sure. Very unique.
He's got a lot going on, the flop with the skates. His knob, doesn't use a knob or something like that, and I think his pants are a little wild too, so.
Yeah, the whole 9 yards, I feel like.
The team with your favorite player's skin to get under. Ooh, I don't know.
I'm gonna have to go with the Detroit Red Wings. I know a lot of guys on that team. Former Michigan guys, Larkin, obviously play with Copper here, so got a couple chirps on them that can get under their skin.
I mean, I think most of the guys, a player like Connor McDavid, that's what you're trying to do. I'm not, personally, I don't say stuff like I said, I don't chirp, but if you can somehow get under this guy's skin to make him play just a little bit less good, that's what you want to do, because this guy, when he's buzzing, not a lot of ways to stop him. So that's the guy you try to get playing less good.
I don't know. I don't have a specific player necessarily, but I guess favorite team to play against.
There's probably more of a general answer, but I feel like our games with Minnesota are always like a little chippy, a little feisty, so I enjoy those games, and I feel like there's a little bit of bad blood, it seems like every game. Things seem to pick up a little bit, so yeah.
Ooh, team city with your favorite restaurant. I gotta think of my favorite restaurant first.
Man, there's a lot of good restaurants.
Bourbon Steak, Nashville.
Probably a popular pick, but I'm gonna go with New York Rangers.
Always has great restaurants. Montreal has great restaurants.
Personally, I like going to Carbone there. Their spicy rigatonis are pretty good.
Lavo is a good place, which I really enjoy go to.
I like sushi on the road.
Guys give me shit sometimes because I don't like eating seafood when we're too far away from the ocean, and
There's some really good sushi spots around.
Vancouver, I think there's a lot of great sushi restaurants, so I enjoy going there and kind of changing it up. Guys tend to steer towards steak and Italian a lot, but Vancouver is always a nice change of pace.
Catch in LA, I like that one a lot.
Seattle too, actually, are both good sushi.
The team with your favorite goalie to score on.
I don't score many goals. This is a tough one.
I'm trying to think of which goalies I've actually scored on.
I like scoring on a heli in practice. That's fun.
Even if you score, he will not remember it, or he will say it didn't go in, or it definitely did not go in no matter what.
Maybe have to just go with another rival, the Nashville Predators. Saros is obviously an unbelievable goalie, but any chance you get to score on him, it's a pretty good day.
Obviously, I played in Nashville for a little bit and always loved scoring him in practice, and now I have a chance to score him in a real game again, so it's got to be him.
I'll just say former teammate, Lauren Brossois.
I've got one on Vasilevsky, so that's probably my favorite one. I think he's kind of been one of the top goalies in the league for a long time. And I don't know if he had much of a chance on it. It was kind of like a backdoor rebound play, but either way I buried it. And yeah, it's pretty cool to be able to score on a guy like that. He's won some cups and Vezinas and all that kind of stuff.
I think Fleury is fun to score on because he's not that he takes it with a smile or anything, but we've talked over the years, and he's such a funny, good dude, and he's one of the best goalies to ever play the game, I think, and is still unreal. So I'd go with Fleury.
Bucky in practice would have been a good answer, I guess.
The team with the player you dislike the most in the league.
If you want to fight, you call out somebody on that one.
I think a lot of guys will give this answer. Great guy off the ice, so I don't dislike him as a person, but as a player, I think everyone.
Brett Marchand, but he's an unbelievable player, and I would love to have him on the team, but playing against him, it sucks.
Again, from home, we get to skate with him a little bit in the summer sometimes when he's around, and really nice guy, but I think just the way he competes, you learn to dislike him on the ice pretty quickly. It seems like those are oftentimes the guys, the nice guys off the ice and pain in the butt to play against on the ice, but yeah, I think a lot of guys probably dislike him on the ice.
Carson Soucy, former college teammate.
The team with the best social media presence.
Really enjoy the Jets stuff for the most part.
Winnipeg Jets.
They do a pretty good job around us.
This is it.
They're fun to work with.
I think the Rangers are probably pretty good at that, but I'm not following them on Instagram, so I don't know. But I think I could see that.
I kind of like now, it seems like accounts are starting to go after fans a little bit, which is, I always find that to be enjoyable. I feel like Vegas is, maybe it's just because we've played them in playoffs and stuff, but I feel like I've seen their account being pretty petty and going after fans. So, if you're gonna dish it out on Twitter, you better be able to, get it back. And Vegas definitely goes back at them sometimes. So I enjoy that.
The player with the worst hands in the league. You're gonna make me sewer someone.
You guys are awful.
Worst hands in the league, that's funny.
Oh my God, what a question. Oh.
Brendan Dillon, I hope you see this. Worst hands in the league.
I don't want to make any enemies, but I know I can trip my brother, so Justin Barron, worst hands in the league.
I gotta go with Hellebuck. Worst hands ever.
The player with the best flow in the league.
I mean, we got Casey. Casey's got pretty good flow. Not right now.
Yeah, can't put myself anymore.
Let's go with the fan favorite, Nate Schmidt. And I hope you see this as well.
Honestly, Axel is still keeping her going on our team, Johnson Fjallby. So we're gonna have to go with him.
It's a little messy. Axel Jonsson Fjallby. I hope he doesn't see this clip, but he probably will. He was almost my answer for worst style. If he could put his style together a little bit better, he'd look a little better out on the ice, but he's got some long hair, so.
The best flow,
Scored the most goals against.
Somebody told me this at the end of last year, and it kind of surprised me.
I think I've got a couple on Tampa, a couple on Jersey.
Actually, I've scored 3 against Detroit. Let's try that one. Detroit.
I'm pretty sure it's Colorado, or maybe it was most points against.
We're gonna go Chicago Blackhawks. I think I've got a couple goals against them.
I think it's Jersey. Just unfortunately, probably only 2 or 3 goals, maybe.
Well, now Utah, but Arizona Coyotes were, I think, the team that scored the most goals.
Ooh, worst tape job in the league.
This guy always makes fun of my tape job. Ville Heinola. He tapes it all the way up. It looks like a sock. all the way up the shaft.
I think either Pasternak or I don't know if Fiala still does just the stripe on the blade. They're also pretty sick, so they can take it.
Unfortunately, he retired, but he used to be Zach Parise. It was ugly. He had always a weird little ritual on his skate where he always has a certain body where he waxes tape. It was just so strange, but I guess it worked for him. He was a great player.
I mean, we got to call out Nina Ryder. Not a very good tape job, Nino. Well, he just doesn't tape the toe kind of low. There's not a lot of tape on the stick. So that's where I knock him off on that one.
On our team, I'm gonna go back to Axel again. Like, it's because I know these guys' tape jobs. Axel's tape job is terrible, and he uses like a stick that's way too short and whippy for him. So that's what I always tell him. But again, it's working for him. So what do I know?
Oh, I should have gone Scheif too. Scheif, man. If you look at it, it may not look terrible at all, but he doesn't care. Like, you get a stick of his, you'll see. It's not pretty.
The team was the best golfer on it.
I think Pavelski would have been this answer.
But I don't know who it would be now.
Mark Scheifele.
Yeah, but Sandberg is apparently better.
Shot 74 at the Manitoba Open first round. That's pretty good.
Players exemption or sponsors exemption, whatever they're called. And I played in it last year. I was proud of my 80. He fired a 74 the first day, so hell of a player.
Sandberg is absolutely elite. Scheifele is great.
Toninato. Yeah, those three guys usually are running for the best player on the team.
Connery's really good. Morrissey, I think there's Barron. There's a lot of great players on it.